Gerrard is gone. The great myth that Stevie G was about to become the next great Premier League coach. Oh, well, it turns out that actually in the Premier League, yeah, the tactical skill of a melting banana milkshake, you know, the type of badly made milkshake that still has chunks of poo swimming inside. But listen, I will touch on who should be the next Aston Villa manager later in the video. And lads, I just know that of the 3 people I'm going to suggest, you're probably all gonna tell me that I'm about as clued into reality as Peter Pan. But just hear me out. So first, honestly, for Liverpool fans, oh, this must be hard to watch. Gerrard was the heir to the throne at Anfield. So again, seeing him now, being told to go home and sit on the couch and just watch loose women with his wife, oh, it's all a bit much. I mean, it is so anticlimactic. I mean, it's been like finding out that the great Santa Claus was found messaging children on Twitter. For Liverpool fans, this is hard to stomach. They were supposed to be the guy to one day replace Jurgen Klopp. So I mean, what are they gonna do now? I mean, clearly they can't be seen to replace one of the greatest bosses of all time, like some wet weasel who lost his job at Villa Park. I mean, I know that managers can recover from the sack, but do they still get their chance at monster clubs? No! Lads, Dale Moyes was so very nearly been by Everton in 2004 when they finished 17th. I mean, if he had gone then there would be more chance of James Corden agreeing to put down the fork than there would have been for him to get approached by Man United. Honestly, if he was sacked at Goodison Park, then I promise you, his next job would be something like Wigan or West Brom. I mean, I suppose Brendan Rodgers is a slightly weird case. I mean, he was sacked by Reading after 6 months in 2009, and less than 3 years later, he had the Liverpool job. But it's different. It's so very different. Because lads, Liverpool were not a mouth-watering monster job in 2012. I mean, they just finished 8th, level on points with Fulham, and with just 1 more win than West Brom. I mean, Christ, well, they had a patch where they lost 6 out of 7 games. They were a hideous, horrible mess. So again, I mean, they weren't exactly in a position to hire elite coaches. And I mean, it's a bit different getting a low-key sack in the Championship because none of the chairmen ever seem to notice. I mean, it's a bit easier to forget that it ever happened if it's not a match of the day. I mean, lads, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked by Cardiff in the 2nd tier. Gareth Southgate lost his job at Middlesbrough in the Championship, but neither Man United or the FA seem to care. Listen, there is nothing that Gerrard can do that will get him the Liverpool job now. He could literally drive to John Henry's house with a bag full of cookies for his wife. He could spend half an hour begging him on his knees. But no, there's no way you're ever getting that gig now. Sorry, Stevie, but you've ruined it. And so for Liverpool fans, who are you going to get when Klopp leaves? I mean, I know you all had your heart set on giving the job to a beloved, already made legend of the club. So now what? Do you just pray that Xabi Alonso succeeds at Bayer Leverkusen? I mean, do you just cross your fingers now and hope? I mean, to be fair, he's not even in the same league as Liverpool legend as Gerrard, but that's probably due to Rafa Benitez making the Spaniard feel about as wanted as assist on your sack. I mean, Chris, you tried to sell him to Arsenal to make way for Gareth Barry, which is like choosing to throw a home-cooked steak in the bin, but instead just eat mouldy donuts you found in a bag underneath your car. So I guess, yeah, you just have to hope that Alonso does well in the Bundesliga, but look away now, because he just lost 5-1 to Eintracht Frankfurt and is on course for relegation playoff in May. But listen, right now, Aston Villa want to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. Lads, back on that other channel which must not be named, around 18 months ago, I did a video screaming to Poch that he should not take the PSG job because an honest, nice guy like him, trying to survive in an egocentric palace of prima donnas. No! It must be like agreeing to clean the toilets at the Kardashians' house. Not only would you develop a crippling migraine after 7 minutes, but I mean, you're probably only going to get paid in selfies on Instagram. Just yuck. But I'm gonna say a similar thing here. Pochettino, stay away! Don't you dare step inside the confines of Villa Park. Lads, Aston Villa are a poisonous club. It's a set of players you do not want to work with. Obviously, I don't know them personally, but I think it's time to realize that this bunch of players are just a gang of inflated, overpaid mercenaries who've got the collective work rate of, oh, I don't know, Seth Rogen at the gym? Yeah, he'd probably just spend an hour standing in the corner trying to steal Skittles out of the vending machine. But lads, Aston Villa have spent nearly $500 million on transfers since 2019. And what do they have to show for it? Over a year ago, Aston Villa were everyone's tips to a great crash to the top 6 under Dean Smith. I mean, sure, they sold Jack Grealish for £100 million, but the likes of Emiliano Buendia, Leon Bailey, Danny Ings were all excellent summer deals. Right? But no, because lads, this time last year, they were losing 5 matches in a row, which made everyone unfairly assume that Dean Smith had the tactical brain of a pie made of egg. But no, because Gerrard never really got a hold in his team either. I mean, from December to February, they won just once in 7 matches. This was supposed to be the new manager bounce. I mean, in March, they lost 4 games in a row. Lads, if they did not nick a desperate 0-0 draw at Leicester, then Aston Villa would have lost a 5-game sequence twice in one season. That is the pattern of a team begging for relegation. And look at them now. beginning the season with 4 defeats in 5. Right now, they've no win in 4 games. And in a week where their boss is under pressure, battling for his job, they chuck in a limp, pitiful performance in a 3-0 loss at Fulham. Stay away, Pochettino. There is a toxic streak at Aston Villa. Some of these players are so embarrassingly overrated. I mean, Danny Ings is finished. I mean, he's only scored 8 league goals for Aston Villa in nearly 40 matches. Yes, he was an explosive goal machine at Southampton, but now he's just a dried up sausage roll, slowly veering into Charlie Austin territory, who can now be found just angrily shouting at his teammates in the dregs of the Australian League. I mean, the likes of Jacob Ramsey and Ollie Watkins are overrated mush, and John McGinn's halo is slowly slipping to the point where we can all see that despite, getting Sir Alex Ferguson's eye in 2019, in reality, it's just Leon Osborne with hair, and Emiliano Buendia is just an RG Todd Cantwell. Lads, this is the Villa dressing room. They just give up. They have got the backbone of a gingerbread man. Honestly, when I look at this Aston Villa squad, it reminds me of Newcastle in 2009. Maybe you need relegation to just press the reset button. So, Pochettino, you are wasting your time. And I actually think if Christian Purslow gives him a ring, it'll be an insult to his character. Poch, don't do it. It's a trap. Honestly, imagine when you fail at Aston Villa. Oh, then that's your stock officially in the mud. I mean, you'll never get Premier League work from a top 10 club again. Honestly, his stock will be in the same pooey bucket as the likes of Quique Sanchez Flores, who, don't forget, he did a Poch hype back in 2010. I mean, he nearly got the Chelsea job once. But yeah, Poch, if you fail here, you'll just be getting emails from teams like Getafe or Shanghai Shenhua. Just don't do it! I mean, this is Pochettino, a guy who took Tottenham to a Champions League final. You don't go from coaching Kylian Mbappe to Ollie Watkins in your next job. I mean, wake up! So, apparently Aston Villa are sniffing around Thomas Tuchel. I'm sorry. Who do you think you are? Why would a Champions League winning manager want to sign up for a relegation scrap and plot about how he's supposed to use Tyrone Mings in a back 3? Sounds about as much fun as eating a hamburger off the floor. I mean, are Aston Villa really much of a pull? Lads, only 2 managers ago, you were offering a contract to Steve Bruce. I mean, sure, I guess Villa do a form for hiring former Champions League winning Chelsea coaches. But I mean, Roberto Di Matteo, by 2016, he was about as attractive as a muffin in a toilet. Lads, over the last 20 years, the biggest name in management that Villa have managed to entice is probably Gerrard Houllier in 2010. But I mean, he was 63 and had been out of work for 3 years. He's a 63-year-old former Liverpool coach. It'd be like getting Rafa Benitez now. I mean, you're not exactly going to be drooling on the floor. So, Tuchel, Pochettino, what is this? Do you really think Tommy T is going to take time out of his day to clean up Stevie G's mess? I mean, he already did that for Frank Lampard. But at least that was in the Champions League. I would call Aston Villa a poison chalice. But is it even a chalice? I mean, is it even a tempting job? It's signing up for a relegation battle and being forced to live in Birmingham. Lads, we live in a time where Michael Beale just turned down a Premier League job at Wolves to remain at QPR. I mean, he said it was about loyalty and integrity. Nah, I reckon he asked his wife over dinner that if she wanted to relocate from their swanky West London flat to, go and live out of a travel lodge in Dudley, and yeah, she probably nearly threw the beef stew at his face. Honestly, for even daring to ask that question, she probably made him sleep on the couch. As if she caught him peering at her sister on the loo. Aston Villa is not an attractive job. I'm sorry, Villa fans, but they're not. Oh, by the way, don't bother ringing up Beale. I mean, he's already said no to Wolves. Just save your embarrassment, please. Don't risk the embarrassment of being publicly rejected by Gerrard's ex-assistant coach. Just, no, don't do it. Don't. It's too much. But who else is on the shortlist? Unai Emery? Lads, last year he turned down Newcastle, the richest team in world football, to stay at Villarreal. And despite his Arsenal failures, I still think that Emery is probably just a touch out of Villa's reach. A bit like when he's down Asda and Jordan Pickford has a hard time trying to get the Rice Krispies off the top shelf. I mean, I could be wrong, and he might take the Villa job, but I don't really see it. I mean, Thomas Frank is apparently on Villa's shortlist. I mean, yeah, I can see that one. I can see Frank wanting the Villa job. Although, bundling him through the door for an interview, a bit embarrassing though, considering he used to be the guy who used to fetch Dean Smith his coffee. Someone you ungratefully booted in a bin. Listen, I'm gonna make a comparison here, which will make Aston Villa fans, feel a taste of rotting pig meat in their bowels. But lads, Aston Villa remind me of Birmingham City in 2007. Another club whose owners clearly had the self-awareness of David Brent. I mean, lads, it was David Gold and David Sullivan. The West Ham boys. The guys who tried to bring Fernando Torres to West Ham. Clearly reality is not their thing. But I mean, yeah, Birmingham, like Villa, at the time were a newly promoted team from the Championship and also had recently moved on from Steve Bruce. And yet, here they were, thinking they could appoint anyone they liked. I mean, back in 2007, they were trying to hire Marcello Lippi. He just won the World Cup the summer before. How can you try and replace Steve Bruce, a man who just walked out on you for Wigan, with the current FIFA World Coach of the Year? What? And a bit like how Villa are now courting Poch, Birmingham were sniffing around a guy who, also worked miracles at Spurs. Martin Jol. Again, don't laugh. He was one of the most in-demand coaches of 2007. So I'm pretty sure he would have rather licked cereal off a toilet wall than join a team who just spent the entire summer chasing Mido. Someone who probably eats cake for breakfast.
Birmingham seek high-profile Bruce replacement.
You see? You see how this is like Villa now? I mean, do you know who that high-profile replacement was? Alex McLeish, the Scotland boss. So this would be like Aston Villa spending 2 weeks sending flowers to Pochettino's mum, only to just accept the fact that, oh, actually, they are about as enticing as a teapot filled with toilet water, and so just give the job to Steve Clarke. I mean, he's worked at Villa Park before. I mean, Birmingham tried to get Mark Hughes that summer. Now, I know, okay, in 2022, he is just a washed up snail who's now just coughing his way through League 2 as manager of Bradford. But back in 2007, he was one of the most highly rated coaches in the league. I mean, he would soon be hired by Man City. So yeah, it'd be like Villa approaching Eddie Howe. Yeah, no point. Listen, who do I think Villa should appoint? You know what? You're going to think I'm drinking crazy juice, but Brendan Rodgers. Now it might sound like lunacy to appoint a guy sitting 19th in the league, but if I told you a year ago that Villa could have Rodgers, those fans would have bit my hand off with their teeth. Rodgers has not become a bad manager overnight, and a year ago his stock would have been too high for him to even consider Villa Park. A bit like how Mark Hughes was sneering down his nose at Birmingham in 2007. But I mean, now, after all the bumps in the road, then now Hughes would probably agree to work for Birmingham for free. I mean, to him, to even be able to give him the chance to coach a human beanbag like Troy Deeney, to him, that'd be like a free trip to Disneyland. So go get Rodgers. Go get him. Am I the only one who still believes in Brendan? Give him a 5-year deal and back him. Offer him transfer money, because instead, right now, at Leicester, it's like he's an elf in Santa's barn and being forced to make presents out of nothing but straw and milk. Yeah, pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of horrified kids when their presents just stink of a cow's breath. I mean, is he too loyal to Leicester to leave? Ask Celtic about his loyalty. Right now, he's always about 1 game away from the sack, so just go out and seek some security. For your family, at least. Go do it. Go to Villa Park. I mean, don't worry about Leicester, they'll be fine. They'll probably just pick up Nigel Pearson on a free. But if you don't like that one, okay, fine. Here's some other alternatives I think could work as Villa boss. Now, I realize me suggesting Rafa Benitez to the TikTok generation, and now it's like your grumpy old granddad telling you to listen to music from 1954. Otis Redding, am I right? So I won't bother with the Rafa suggestion. But Villa could do worse than Nuno Espirito Santo. Get him out of his pointless job at Al Ittihad. And, because don't forget, he did 4 brilliant years of work at Wolves. 1 Tottenham flop does not make him a hideous coach. I think he would make Villa more compact, more defensively resilient, and who knows, you could steal in there ahead of Everton and sign Connor Cody for peanuts in January. And if Villa want to move like a big club, then move like a big club. Bring in Santo and allow him to sign Ruben Neves for £50 million. Why not? Move like a big club. My third pick would be Mauricio Sarri, who might still be out of reach with Lazio, but I reckon he might take the job. Again, this is a much more complicated one, but I think it's a nice option. I mean, he would be a project manager. You can't just fire him after 6 weeks. But no, my main 2 picks are Rodgers and Santo. I mean, a refreshed Rodgers at Villa Park. Give him funds to spend, because right now he's gonna have to work out of a cereal box at Leicester City. Give him cash, and honestly, Villa will be where Leicester were 2 years ago, 5th in the league. Nobody should ever dare sneer at Rodgers at Villa Park. He would be the perfect choice. And Santo is a good steady pick. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'd do a brilliant job too, but no, my main pick is Rodgers. And again, Villa, start moving like a big club, which would mean sticking him a fat £60 million bid for James Maddison in January. You know, flush out the has-beens like Philip Coutinho and go and buy Ebereki Eze too. If you hire Rodgers, you need to back Rodgers. And I promise you, he will deliver the goods. Anyway, next one, what do you think? Alright, let me know in the comments who should replace Gerrard. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.